What's up, y'all? Ego Somogolos. Let's just get right into today's video, which is in regards to Lucifer. So I was hanging out with him pretty much for a good portion of my evening, and I was actually like gonna film another video when I was thinking to do this, but then he came through. He's like, "You won't film this now?" So I was like, okay. So gracias, Lucifer. Here we the fuck are. So this is just going to be a candid chat session, and it's going to be in regards to discussions about sacrifice. So there's a little bit to cover here. Some of this you might have heard before, or at least you've most certainly heard the phrase that in order to gain something beneficial, you must sacrifice. Not entirely true. Okay. So it is true that something must be sacrificed in order for you to live your dream life on the third dimensional earth matrix plane. That part is true. The thing, which this is a lot of times, and I've even seen it in like spiritual esoteric communities about like sacrifice and karmic ties and blah blah blah, and it's like, okay, we're gonna meander a little bit away from that avenue, and we're going to look at things in the way that Lucifer explained to me. So maybe some of you might have heard this before, maybe some of you already have this going on within you and you see it as truth for you, and some of you might have never heard this concept before, but here we the fuck are. We gonna talk about it. Okay, so yes, in order to gain something that you really want, something you're trying to manifest, a lot of times in the 3D earth matrix plane, there's like a saying. What do they call it? Blood, sweat, and tears. Okay, sure. If someone grows up believing that, right, and I don't know where the fuck that saying came from, but I just know it's a common saying. Don't know the root, don't care to know what the root of that saying is, to be quite honest, because, you know, we like to keep it on the up and up over here. We don't like to go backwards in the 3D earth matrix fucking traps. So that's an ego mind trap, that you must work hard, you must sacrifice something you love in order to gain something that you also love.
No, no, no.
As conveyed to me, Lucifer, he is letting me know that you may resonate with hearing this phrase, but some of you, it might have seemed false to you. Like you might not have believed it, or you just felt a negative sensation in your physical vessel whenever you like read this phrase or heard this phrase somewhere. It's like part of it could be because it's like, you know, the corny cliche part, but I mean part of it is because the core of your being knows that this is not true. This is just a saying to get someone to stay stuck in the ego earth matrix. What the fuck do I mean by this? Someone might have the perception, because they grew up around those quotes, like you have to put in XYZ amount of effort to do this, to do that, and you need to sacrifice something that you love in order to have something else that you love and whatnot. Okay, so of course that story is going to play out for an unassuming motherfucker who adopted that story, that took that scenario into his psyche, and now it's being stored there as a program. So of course whoever it was who is believing that saying is going to see evidence of that. That's how things are going to work out for them. They are going to manifest amazing, wonderful things, but something, and this is, I'm talking, and some of you might know individuals like this, to this individual who is believing that he is enlightened and he's being a wonderful martyr, he's sacrificing something in order to gain something else, he's believing that from a third dimensional ego construct. So it's going to play out for him and or her, it don't even matter. Okay, I always say he typically. So when whoever it is having that construct inside them, that is a program that's going on inside their monkey minds, because that's not true. So yes, it is going to be true for them because they believe it. That does not mean that that has to be true for you. I personally can tell you that if I've heard that phrase, I'm like, your motherfucking ass needs to fucking sage your chakras and shit, okay? Don't be coming around here with these motherfucking nasty stank ass energies and phrases like you gotta put in blood, sweat, and tears. What the fuck? I mean, unless you're doing a blood ritual, I mean, unless you sweating, having sex, unless they're tears of joy, I don't want no goddamn blood, sweat, and tears up in here. Snap. Damn. Anyway, okay, so do you see what I'm saying? So someone who is believing that need to put in hard work on the third dimensional plane, they need to sacrifice something in order to gain something something else, they are living that experience. That is valid, but they're living that experience not because it's a law or a rule or anything in the 3D. It's simply an ego mind construct. So yes, it is something that's very heavily witnessed and perhaps experienced on the third dimensional plane, that there has to be a great sacrifice in order to overcome something. That's why they say, you know, in the Disney movies, like you'll always see, I don't know why I'm bringing Disney movies. I think I put up another recent video about Disney movies. Might be resonating with someone though, but these channel chats here, you know, we going okay. Anyway, what the construct on the third dimensional plane is a mere saying to keep someone's mind ensnared inside the matrix, inside the limitation, right? Because that's not inclusive of the all. Why is it not inclusive of the all? Because it's like sacrificing something you are taking away, right? Because this is typically how the phrase goes in motherfuckers' minds, okay? It goes that if they want XYZ over here, they had to give up ABC over here, right? So that involves a loss. That involves a subtraction, right? That's the sacrifice quote that they mostly are referring to in that phrase. And we know from a fourth dimensional state of the enlightened demonic mind, demon, genius, get with the program, check the archaic definitions, and demon means genius. I'm sure a lot of you do already know that though, but if you don't know, now you know. Anyway, you could look into that yourself, okay? Either which way. But that's why it's just funny to me, like the irony, they say demon as in like a derogatory term, but it really means you're a genius, like, because you're seeing from a fourth dimensional vantage point, so you technically are smarter than someone who's only operating out of the ego mind 3D vantage point. I don't want to digress too far, even though I typically do, but that is still a mind construct. That is not a law, that is not a rule, that is a law that their ego monkey mind set up for themselves, because you cannot subtract something from the all's perspective. Okay, so let's think of this that quote that I'm talking to you about. Whoever this motherfucker is, they want to go over there, but they think they have to sacrifice something that they enjoy over here. Okay, cool. So now they've subtracted that. There's loss in that, right? There's loss because they didn't really want to give it up, but they thought they had to in order to move 5 chess paces this way. Okay, that's what they thought they had to do, but really there are no fucking rules. So when we are talking about the universe, there is no loss. The all knows no loss. The all only knows now abundance. Everything all is. So that sacrifice and the thing are united as one. They both exist at the same time. You don't have to subtract this to get over here and add that. Do you see what I'm saying? It's that part. And I'm talking about, let's say, and I'm not talking about something where if someone wants to like remove something from their programming, no, because they want to do that. Okay, like that's a totally different topic. I'm talking about just this phrase that you have to, you know, sacrifice blood, sweat, and tears and all, whatever the fuck. Okay, that phrase that entails that you had to give up something you love in order to gain something else that you love. No, okay? This is what we're talking about. I'm not talking about anything else other than what this phrase means, because a lot of individuals, even if they believe that they're spiritually enlightened, that phrase, unbeknownst to them, is keeping them trapped in the 3D Earth Matrix state of being, okay? They're not at their 4D potential, 5D potential, whatever, how many fucking dimensions you want to toss in there, okay? So when someone is viewing things through the eye of the all, which cannot be subtracted from, they are seeing the thing that they love at the same time that they are seeing this other thing that they love, right? They're not subtracting one and adding another. It's just everything is now. That's why you can have whatever you want whenever the fuck you want. Time doesn't exist. The illusion comes in with the ego monkey mind, another construct that is not necessarily real, because how can you really measure time? Can you measure? Is there a device to measure time? And don't say a fucking clock. That's just ticking numbers, okay? It ain't measuring nothing, okay? Okay. That being said, this construct that might have been maybe started with good intentions, right? Or as maybe like a comfort phrase, because if you think of a comfort phrase like, oh, well, that was meant to happen. When someone is in this phrase, when someone is in this phase where they're believing this phrase, they might have a construct of time, which is limiting them. But actually, the shit that they want over here, the shit that they're experiencing now, it's existing at the the same time. It's just, where are you looking, right? Like, and I mean looking with the eye of the all. This rings true as well for the phrase that I just said. So because the universe can't subtract anything, it can only gain, it can only grow, it can only multiply. For someone to subtract something, that would be like, I don't even know, bro. Like you're just like ripping something out, and then now what? A void, right? A void comes in, and then you get the lower density emotional vibrations like grief, anger, fear, whatever, right? When in reality, the duality, right? And the duality comes like point A to point B. You must sacrifice point A to get to point B, okay? In a negative way. In a negative way. I'm not talking about a habit you don't want anymore where you're just gonna leave it behind, right? So this part is not true. The part that is true about the sacrifice, the one thing, the only thing that you ever must sacrifice, let's say you like to, I don't know, you want to go on vacation, you want to go to Bali and you want to go to Morea. I don't know if that's how you pronounce them, but whatever, right? You want to go to but if I go there, then I can't go there because of, pick a third dimensional ego mind construct, right? Okay, that's what I'm talking about, where the choices are both something that you want, okay? That's what I'm talking about in terms of sacrifice. Well, you might have to sacrifice the trip there in order to take the trip there. No, if you want to do both and it's resonating with you and it feels good for you to be in the energy of both, and that's something that you want to do, you could do both. You could do them all. You could do everything because you're part of the all. You're already everything inside you is being projected on the outside, okay? And if you have an ego mind construct like the one that I'm talking about, you're still in the point of duality. You can't subtract something. If someone tries to subtract something from a negative state that they really don't want to, it's going to leave a void, and in that void are going to come in emotions that might not be desirable by whoever the fuck it is, because it's coming from a place of lack. When the universe, when Lucifer, gracias, when he was showing me this, he was showing me the medias cruxe, and that basically translates into the middle of the cross, okay? So this is where we come in with the real and only sacrifice that one would ever have to endure in order to experience everything they want. They have to sacrifice their third dimensional ego construct in relation to whatever the fuck it is, in relation to anything. I don't give a fuck if it's a statistic. I don't give a fuck if it was the scientifically analyzed. I don't give a fuck about data testing. I don't give a fuck, okay? We all about energy in this motherfucker. Whatever, because that's still third dimensional construct. Because you hear shit all the time, like a statistics show or shit like that, right? But guess what? That don't mean that you part of the statistic, motherfucker. You are the all. You are a unique individual experiencing this experience as only you can. You're not a statistic. Ain't no motherfucking statistic, but they believe they are because it's a popular third dimensional construct. Do you see what I'm saying? Okay, so let's get out of there. Let's get out of the 3D completely, because this is me with my 4D perspective, my 4D state. Anyone, you, me, Elma Fudd, okay? Every motherfucker who wants to advance into the next state of consciousness, living and experiencing the 3D Earth Matrix as a god, ego sum deus. Okay? See. Anyway, don't mind me. He's fucking Wile E. Coyote, but I don't give a fuck. If this is jumbled and all over the place, I probably should have said in the beginning that this might not be the video for like a type A motherfucker, but it's all good. I mean, if you made it this far and you a type A motherfucker, you are the real MVP, because damn.
And sober.
Thank you very much. Okay, so when he's talking about the medias cruxe, what he means is the middle of the cross. We know that the cross, the symbolism with, Jesus and Lucifer is the cross. One is upside down, one is right side up, but it's really the crossroads, okay? It's the middle point. It's the balance betwixt the poles of what is wanted. 5D, ethereal, angelic realm motherfucking shit. 3D, bullshit. I mean, not everything in the 3D is bullshit. I ain't gonna hate like that, because there are positives to the 3D, but I'm talking about 3D sluggish ass shit, funky ass energy that you don't want, right? Like there's the ego mind, the ego entrapment. So you can live joyously in the 3D from a 5D standpoint when you are in the middle of the cross. So when you are in the middle of the cross, like I said, that first sacrifice that I told you about, the bad one, that popular shit in the fucking 3D Earth Matrix plane, the fucking one that I was saying that ain't no motherfucker want, because why you want to give up something you love to have something else you love? I mean, no, I'm saying no. Let's just go with this now, okay? So when someone is operating from that mode, they are looking at the lack. That is the limit. That is the box. That is a 3D earth matrix plane. This side of the cross. This side of the cross is the 5D, the ethereal realm, where everything all is going on at once. And the Medios is the fucking 4D, okay? This is the land of the fucking demons. This is the land of fucking time, space. This is really where time and space are fucking measured, in the fourth dimensional plane. And when you are in the middle of the cross, you hold everything at true neutral. You get your motherfucking Anubis on, and you see the 3D for what it is, but you're also seeing it above the construct. So you say, oh, someone is talking about this phrase, blood, sweat, and tears. In order to live your wildest dreams, you must sacrifice some other shit that you really enjoy. You gonna wipe that shit? He ain't even allowed in the fucking chat room, okay? Poof, be gone, motherfucker. Then we have on this side, we have the 5D, where everything is all at once, right? You dictate, you measure, you dirige the fucking direction, the time, when. Okay, you don't do anything with the how. The how, I mean, unless I receive further information about this as I evolve, you know what I'm saying? The how is just kind of, I understand. I do have a few other videos, I don't even remember where they are, but I talk a little bit about the how, but the how isn't really, you don't really need to figure that out. You just say, whatever that I desire to experience, and that shit feel fucking imp, I am it now. You experience the feeling, and then you don't think about the how. You don't feel anything about the how. You're not on a time construct, right? You're just like, this is going to be delivered to me more magically and beautifully than I ever could have dreamt of, or something to that effect. You know, put it in your own words, that little mantra, because Lucifer, he wanted me to tell you a little, you know, if you want to incorporate some mantras, okay, to attain true neutral, because that is really the fourth dimensional state with attaining true neutral, okay? Whew, fuck yeah. So then when you are in the center, right, what you are doing, you are sacrificing the ego in that moment, the ego construct, and that is something you don't want. So let's say you want to go to I said Bali and Moorea, whatever the fuck, okay? You want to go both these places, okay? From a 4D standpoint, you look at it, both of these places are beautiful experiences, and they deserve my presence in those fucking realms, whatever the fuck you want to say, okay? However you want to word it, and obviously for shit that you want to do, right? The 3D mind compared to what I just said from the fourth dimensional vantage point, because now you're not even looking at plane tickets, motherfucker. You're not looking at no cruise ship tickets. You're not doing nothing. You're just like, yo, boom, I'm gonna be there, I'm gonna be every motherfucking where, because I'm the all, motherfucker. You can't fucking escape my motherfucking ass. I got eyes all over, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, another topic. Okay, but anyway, so what I'm going to say from a 3D vantage point, there is now a fear associated with giving up the thing that they think that they need to sacrifice. There's a fear associated with it, and then that is going to leave a void for more negative emotions to magnetically be drawn there. In just my previous video, I don't know when this is going up, but I put a video about demons, demonic entities, the bottom feeders, how they are attracted to like those type of voids in energy, like those negative emotions, the really dense emotions born of fear and all of that shit. So now they believe that they're doing something good because they want to get to that state of mind where they want to be, but now there's a potentiality for a void, okay? Because now there's the sensation of lack, and the universe does not know lack. The universe don't compute lack very well, so he can be like, what the fuck? You feeling empty, motherfucker? Okay, let's drain you some more, homie. Like, that's how it's gonna be rolling up in the chat, okay? But when you look at it from the perspective of, you know, I am the all, whenever the fuck I want to do something, it's going to work out in perfect timing and better and more magically than I expected. I be saying that, I can't, like, I'm up here, I ain't talking out my booty hole. I'm being straight motherfucking forward. I tell you, if you sacrifice fear, which it's not really a sacrifice, I mean, it kind of is, because you have the ego ensnaring the humanoid psyche and things like that, so it's kind of like you're sacrificing it. And I have a few other videos too somewhere about how to let go of the ego and shit like that. But when you sacrifice your third dimensional perspective, when you enjoy the pleasures that befall your two third dimensional eyes, right? But when you want to create, when you want to be in the moment of your desire in a future timeline, you be it now. I mean, you already know the basics of manifesting, right? We ain't gonna get into that in this video, but you understand that you are it now and nothing needs to be sacrificed, and you are essentially letting go of the ego construct, of the fear, of the loss, of the sorrow, of the anger, of the resentment, of whatever fuck negative energy there is. So if this is the second time I say in another consecutive video, well, that I'm filming this, but if you look at the fucking chart, look it up, power versus force, just search power versus force charts. Just look where you're at on the scale for the predominant time during your days. Okay, so where do you fall naturally? That's your natural set point. So you want to see what level of vibration you're calibrating at. Okay, and if you are, and I'm saying if you're true neutral, I mean that's amazing, but if you're calibrated even higher, that means now you are in the 5D and above state, right? So now that we're touching on this, gracias Lucifer. So now that we're touching on this, when he says medios cruxe, what he means is that the ego is always going to come into play, because you watching this, you in a physical fucking vessel, as am I. Okay, so there's the ego minds. As long as someone is inhabiting the physical vessel for a portion of their consciousness is focused here, whatever the fuck, okay, the ego, it's always going to be there. Okay, so you're not going to eradicate it completely, because that's what happens when someone vacates their vessel, right? The ego is just, I mean, I wouldn't say, well, it's kind of, it just evaporates, you know, but that's a whole other topic too. But when someone is in the vessel, and every moment there is a choice, that is what Lucifer, he is saying to me to convey to you. He's saying in every moment there is a choice. If you are in the middle of the cross, you are observing, because you could maybe at a point have a fear sneak in, and it might be something so minor. It might be something so minor, but it, you know, it sneaks in, right? Some little creeper fucking thought. Okay, you're just like, no, you attain true. I mean, you don't have to do this, but you attain true neutral. However, recite a mantra, take a deep breath, do some shit that you know gets you in that pimp neutral shit. That's pimp neutral state. I should, whatever, both shit, state, I don't give a fuck. Okay, so either which way, when you are in that true neutral state, now you take a deep breath, you do whatever, and you're like, okay, you know what, there might be a fear-based thought sneaking in. I have to sacrifice that home skillet right there. But you don't sacrifice it in a sense of where there's a state of lack. You're now like, I see you, it's cool, you're there, I'm looking this way though, right? It's a different level. Like, it doesn't cause any type of friction in the physical vessel when you've reached a 4D state, because you can notice these little sneaker thoughts. Okay, you can notice them creeping on it, and then you recognize them. You're like, not today, motherfucker. You gonna chill over there, and you stand in the fucking medios cruxe. Okay, you don't need to do anything else other than be neutral and trust. Oh, that was good. No, that was some Lucifer and Jesus, because you know they're both the same thing, different degree. Okay, so when Lucifer is telling me, he's saying that state of mind, that, you know, the one that I just talked about, it might always be presented. No one ever completely eradicates the ego, but you sacrifice feeding into the egoistic fears. That is the sacrifice, the only sacrifice that anyone needs to make in order to live their dreams, because now you're not leaving a void, you're not in a state of fear, you see it, you acknowledge it, because remember, that's how I said in the beginning, the all, nothing can be subtracted from the all. So you look at the situation in 3D, you're like, okay, it could turn out that way. Am I really feeling it or not? But you know what? This is the opposite end of it, and they both exist at the same time. So you immediately balance the fucking scales. You immediately do it. You see it in every moment. There's always the presentation of contrast. Abraham Hicks, Esther Hicks, however, they typically say this, right? They talk about the contrast is there to show you what you don't want, so that you can know what you do want, right? So you had to keep that in mind as well with the contrast, because the 3D, that's the ego. The ego is contrasting from the higher dimensions. It's the contrast because it's like the eggshell that is preserving the egoistic psyche inside the monkey mind and making it like tell you all some crazy shit, like trying to feed your ass motherfucking fears and shit. Okay, so that is the contrast, and it can come up like out of nowhere. Why? Perhaps, like I said in the original fucking thing, I was like, blood, sweat, tears. Why? Because there's a cliche saying around that quote, blood, sweat, tears, right? Just like there's a cliche saying about, you could think of so many different things, right? Just even in your own household, there is a cliche saying that I'm sure you used to hear about, maybe something about you or something, right? Like someone will tell you, oh, because you're XYZ blah blah, look out for ABC la la la, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and you could pick anything, but there are programs that I'm sure might have been embedded in your psyche that were meant well, because it could have been like, look out for that because, you know, they care about whoever, right? But maybe they're saying, look out for that because they had a bad experience with the same thing they're trying to tell you to look out for. So I kind of see it in a way where these sayings were not always given with malice, but I mean, even if they were given in a state of love, like they just did it lovingly, now it's like, what are you doing? You're implanting a fear in someone when maybe they didn't even know that they needed to look out for that, because ain't no motherfucker need to look out for nothing. I mean, you have your third eye open all the time when you in an enlightened state of mind, so oh snap, so it's like your third eye is always fucking watching, you know what I'm saying? That motherfucker like Big Brother, you know what I'm saying? I mean, Big Brother works for me now. He looking at me too right now. He's like, that's right, it's cool, I appreciate you because you do look out for me. Okay, back on topic. I do that sometimes, you know. It's okay, it's all energy, you know. They understand, the electronics, they do understand more than you might fucking think they do. Anyway, that's another topic. Okay, what I wanted to talk about that is the giving up of the ego mind, and essentially that is all you have to do, because there could have been a program that you or someone you know might have downloaded, right? Like I gave that example, because you're pick whatever, look out for pick whatever. Okay, it could be anything, right? Any type of construct or thing that is commonly heard in the 3D Earth Matrix. Those are, you know, like I said, the blood, sweat, tears, that's a big famous one. And then there's also little programs like that are said out of love, out of caring, but you know, the intention was good, but it didn't serve the person who heard it, because now it's like they might get paranoid, like, what you mean I gotta look out for blah blah blah, right? Like, you see what I'm saying? So then that can implant a seed of negativity, something fear-based going on within them when there was nothing there before. So that's why whenever you hear anyone say anything, if it doesn't feel neutral within you, I mean, if that shit, and if it's causing a constriction, you know, it'll be different for everyone, but typically it'll be like a constriction in your vessel, like you'll like recoil, like energetically, like, what the fuck, you nasty ass motherfucker with that stank ass energy, don't you be saying that shit, you know what I mean? What Lucifer is saying, he's like, just if you stay in the middle of the cross, you can sense that when someone, let's say, wants to give you advice, oh, isn't that the best when a motherfucker tries to give you unsolicited advice based off of their experience? And like, I get it, like I said, a lot of times it's made out of love, the suggestion, but it's like, yo, my dude, ain't no one here even thinking about that, you all about that, what? Like, you know what I'm saying? But now, because you are medios cruxe, you understand that they're coming from a place of fear, so even though that advice might have been well intended, you'll need to take it, because you see that perhaps was their experience, or just something that was maybe taught to them, or something that they witnessed, or something that they have picked up from the collective consciousness bullshit stream of whatever the fuck, right? Fear-based delusion programs, and then now they carry that with them, so they want to spread it. It's like fucking locusts and shit. They want to spread. I don't know if locusts spread, but they come all over, right?
You goddamn pervert.
Okay, they migrate to a lot of places, right? Like they be all over the place. I don't know, whatever. Anyway, okay, so that's what Lucifer, I'm telling you, when you should have seen the shit that was going on before I even turned this on. It was just me and him. Good gracious. Okay, anyway, let me take a look at my notes. Okay, so something wonderful that this. Okay, yeah. So I think I kind of covered this. I want to make sure that I went over it. I mean, as in detail. Oh gosh, time doesn't exist. So if you're still here, you the real MVP. What's up? So yeah, when you understand that you are everything and you know where to look at your focus, you acknowledge that the 3D is there. You acknowledge that there are programs that are running rampant inside the 3D Earth Matrix, and you understand that you don't need to take part in that. You don't need to participate, even if it's something that the ego might perceive as being unescapable, unavoidable. I promise you, because I'm sitting here with experience, okay? I ain't talking out my booty hole. When you look at the 3D and you don't put attention on it, you don't put a fear into it, but you at the same time, you don't just turn blindly, right? Because again, that would be leaving lack, because now you're like cutting off the 3D, and that leaves a place for lack, because it's like, okay, what the fuck, the 3D, your ego is there. And you know what happens when you ignore the ego? He get bigger and bigger and bigger, right? So you acknowledge that the 3D is there, you acknowledge that particular programming, whatever it is, maybe it could be a news story, maybe it could be like a common story storyline in movies, like I said in the beginning with the Disney movie, right? Because it's common storyline, and that's why it happens with most motherfuckers, I want to say, because they're programmed like into seeing that from movies. I mean, have you ever legit watched a movie or even like a kid show or cartoon where like a lesson wasn't learned or some shit? You know what I mean? I mean, I'm sure they're out there, but
I don't really recall any off the top of my noggin.
either which way. So motherfuckers out here like literally living out movie scripts. They're thinking that they had to go through hardships and sacrifices. Then there's like a big climax, and then it's like, oh, then they get everything they want and it's a happy ending. But that typically happens in a lot of motherfuckers' lives. But does it happen because it's a rule? No. Does it happen because the motherfucker has to sacrifice some shit? No. It happens because it's just a program, and the program is neutral. And when you understand that everyone around you, I ain't taking myself out the equation, okay? Because I have had programs embedded in my fucking mind that I didn't even know were going on. And then I had a motherfucker, a very wise motherfucker, pointed out to me. And I'm like, I had no clue. Trust me, okay? Trust me. I ain't sitting here saying that I wasn't embedded in the ego at a certain point, because I motherfucking was.
But
I wouldn't be sitting up here now telling you that you are the all and you could have and do and experience whatever the fuck you want that is joyful and blissful, motherfucker. Oh yes. Yes, you can. I know, because I fucking do it. I got out of the ego. And that's why I'm telling you that there might be still instances that the ego might try to come up and you're just like, oh, hey, what's up? How you doing, ego? Oh, I see. Okay, cool. And you let a motherfucker be. You don't get involved in an entanglement with the fucking ego. You know what I'm saying? You leave him out the chat room, okay? He not invited. This is a private chat room. Ego not invited, okay? That is what we're talking about, right? So the sacrifice is you sacrifice feeding the ego illusion, because now you exist and you are truly in control of the little avatar of the physical vessel. You're truly in control, and you see things from a greater scape than you did when you were in the ego. You sacrifice the fear. You sacrifice that ego illusion, but you don't disacknowledge him. You see that the ego illusion is there, and you are able to interpret and comprehend when other motherfuckers around you are operating from their ego illusion. And it's very easy to see what programming motherfuckers have in their minds. Like when you see their ego come out, you be like, oh, that's what's going on? Okay. And you could stick around, or you don't need to, but you'll like, I'm telling you, trust me, okay, Confido, I'm telling you. Gracias, Lucifer. He's just saying, he's like, yo, that shit's funny, right? Like when you observe motherfuckers, they're like with the ego and shit, like, wow. The thing is, when you are operating and you're more inclined towards being in resonance with the all, even if there's something around you that might attempt to embroil your ego in it, attempt to get your ego's attention, you'll see it, but you'll recognize it immediately and you'll drop it. You'll be like, oh, that's the ego. Okay, yeah. I sacrificed any type of fear-based illusions. I see what it is. I'm acknowledging that's there, but you know, I'm neutral. So when you are neutral and you are at that set point, which I talk about again in a lot of my other videos, when you are at that true neutral, you have the capacity to go anywhere you want, because you recognize things for what they are. Because when you are neutral, you're not being pulled in either direction. That is why when you are medios cruxe, you just stand there and you observe from your enlightened state. This is a fourth dimensional perspective, because now things will begin to happen immediately. Big things, little things. Like I've had some few experiences, like just this week, a few of them. Gracias. Thank you. Universe, thank you. Oh, Mr. Crowley, he's waving at me too. Aleister Crowley, he's like my, he's a guide of mine into this type of stuff. And look at he. Okay, so either which way, when you are viewing things from a fourth dimensional standpoint, from the genius, remember I said in the beginning, demon genius, because everything's all connected. Now, you know that the ego and the spirituality, they're the same thing, but a different degree, right? So you see everything as neutral. You see them as both what they are, parts of the all. They are parts of the all. the egoistic fear of the third dimensional construct and the heavenly realms of love and joy and bliss and ecstasy in the fifth dimensional realm, right? But when you are at the true neutral state, because like I said, the ego, it can try to present itself in a lot of different ways. Even when you have ascended that, it's still there. Or someone might seek your counsel about an egoistic matter, and if you want to give them some advice, if they're asking for you to give them advice, obviously, then you're able to view it from that neutral perspective. You see what I'm saying? But you're not really enmeshed in that illusion anymore. So when you are seeing everything from the true neutral vantage point, then you realize that everything is all connected. There is no lack. So you understand that when someone wants to elevate, let's say someone, we'll use that vacation example because it's a light example, okay, whatever. So someone wants to go to 2 places in 6 months on their bucket list, however they say, right? So they come to you for advice. This is just an example, like, so, whatever, you can understand what I'm talking about here, the difference betwixt the different dimensions of consciousness. So someone who is more in a third dimensional vibratory state where they're really listening to their ego, they're going to be a whole shit ton of fears of why they can't, but what if, okay, cool, okay. You as a mediator, right, as the medios cruxe, you are the intermediate betwixt heaven and what some like to call the 3D earth matrix hell. I mean, but once you've mastered the matrix, the 3D earth can be a motherfucking playground in heaven, you know what I'm saying? So you as a mediator, you would say something to them like, and did you list the reasons why you can visit both of these places in that amount of time? And why does 6 months resonate with you? Why does it have to be 6 months? Do you have any preconceived notions about that? Or, like, you know what I'm saying? You would ask a motherfucker questions like that, and then they would come to their own conclusions and they would see how they are limiting themselves. So this is someone who is from a 4D standpoint, because you are in that where space and time intersect, the fourth dimension, the realm of the genius. It is the shape-shifting dimension. It is like the fun house of mirrors, how they have the different mirrors. It's like you can distort things, you bend things to your whim, right? When you are the magician, you are in a fourth dimensional state of consciousness, because when any type of ego thing tries to present itself, you recognize it if it's coming up for you, or it's coming up like in the example, someone asking you for advice from their egoistic standpoint. You see it and you acknowledge it. You're like, okay, this is here and I understand, but you know what? I'm in a place of abundance right now. I'm neutral, whatever it is, and you don't need to feed into someone else's fears. Like, some of you might relate to this. If you've ever had someone call you or you meet up with them and they're just like negativity and drama and like bullshit, like, and it's just, and not even maybe directed at you, just in general, and you're just like, motherfucker, I came here to have fun. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you're just like, what the fuck is this? Like, I ain't come outside today for that.
No.
I know you met a motherfucker like that at least once, okay? So that is someone that is existing solely purely in the ego. Everything is the ego. They don't even know that there's a heaven, or they don't know what the fuck is going on. They have this perception of things going wrong for them, and so that's where they're at. But the fourth dimensional perspective doesn't turn away from that, right? It's saying, I acknowledge that it's there, but I'm looking over here, so I don't know what this motherfucker doing, right? And the more you do that, the more you elevate your own consciousness to be at true neutral. The ego, because remember, the 4D is the bridge, right? So if you're living as a god in the earth matrix on the 3D, there's always the 4D, I call it in a lot of my other videos too, it's like the super highway betwixt those dimensions, God on earth, heaven, right? And then you transition, you go to the 4D, you shape shift into the life that you want to live on the 3D, right? So the 4D is always going to be present. That's why it's very beneficial for one to acknowledge the 4D where shape-shifting occurs and time and space and reality bend and things like that, okay? And then they understand that the 3D, what they are seeing in the 3D comes from their higher perspective, and it's going through the filter, the tunnel, however you want to call it, the transitional phase of the fourth dimension. So being that this is where time bends and space bends, depending on how long you you have been looking at the 3D fear illusion, or how long you have been participating in the 5D and up love reality, then that's how fast things will begin to materialize in your experience. That's why I said, when you really accelerate to a high vibrational, bro, shit will be like instantaneous manifestations, like boom, boom, boom. Like you will be like, what the fuck? So it's very important, because the ego can be very quick too, because remember, that's just the design of the Matrix. Holla, hey big brother. Mwah. When the Matrix mind program tries to jump in, think of yourself as like the fucking character in the video game, and then you're like, whoa, that's a booby trap, I ain't stepping into that today, I'm gonna jump over this fucking, what are they, oh my god, what are those flowers? They don't do that. They make these weird chomping in the Mario, and they come out the pipes. They're like, but you know what I'm saying? You jump over home skillet, right? You don't step into it. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you're like, oh, that was a booby trap. I'm gonna be over here, right? But things with the ego-based fear start popping up quick, because remember, this is a more advanced level of the video game, because you've advanced to the 4D state of mind. So now you're more in, like, I have another video on this, I think, about the Mars Matrix, which is more fourth dimensional vantage point.
Blah, 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 blah.
A whole other topic altogether, but I just figured I'd mention it here in case some of you might be interested in that, somewhere in my channel. Maybe, I don't know, like a year ago or something. I don't fucking know, okay? Time doesn't exist, but it might have a date on it. You know what I'm saying? When we accelerate, because if you still hear home skillet, I mean, damn, whew, you either like seeing this fucking show, or you really are an advanced motherfucker and you're taking this information, okay? So either which way,
You the real MVP.
when someone advances, now things start becoming very, very swift. It's like 8 of Wands energy in the fucking 3D Earth Matrix. So it's just swift. It's like, because your thoughts and your emotions are manifesting ASAP. Okay, it's like it's coming through like boom. You think of a cup of coffee, boom, coffee just appears in your hands like fucking magic. Okay, because everything is fucking magic. But that's why you want to be quick to nip the ego before that motherfucker have a chance to get out of control. So even if you see it with someone else, and let's use that individual where they're not a bad person, but they're just very entrenched in their ego, but they're kind of like a killjoy to be around, because they're talking about negativity and limitations and blah blah blah. You're gonna sense that in your energy, so you do whatever you want, but you observe them for where they're at. They're like, oh, you operating in the ego mode, I don't know if I could fuck with that, right? Because I've already advanced to the 4D. So that's why things you start to notice like the little creatures. I mean it in an endearing way. You start to notice the little creatures that are enmeshed in the third dimensional standpoint. You're like,
Oh, okay.
like, but you can jump around them, you could jump over them, right? Because you 4D. And when things move fast, it's because you know how I think I use this in another one of my videos too. You ever have like those and the only video game I've ever played in my entire life is Super Mario, so that's why that's the only one that I can go back like for references. But they have plenty of videos on YouTube of Super Mario. Pick a year, pick a genre of it. They have like a few different ones, a lot of different ones I think, but whatever, just pick one and you'll see like when they have like the advanced level, like the scenery that Mario is supposed to move through, it's like moving quick. But they don't do that right at level 1 when Mario is just first entering. Oh my god, was it called Mushroom Land? Oh, is it? Oh snap. Well, I need to get me a ticket to that place. Anyway, I think it was called the Mushroom Kingdom.
Damn.
So either which way. So I don't even know if it's fucking called that. I think it is though, or maybe that's a Mandela effect, but I could have sworn it's called the Mushroom Kingdom. Because yeah, Princess Toadstool, and that's a mushroom, right? A toadstool? When Mario first steps into that, right? So let's say when whoever the fuck first enters their physical vessel and they're in their ego, right? They haven't advanced spiritually, and some never will. It's okay. They don't need to. That's their path. But when someone who is on a more, enlightened path like this, where they want to take in all the different dimensions, and whilst they're in a 3D vessel, they're not going to get that speedy level right away, right? They have to progress towards it. So that's why maybe in earlier of your journey, like when you were trying to manifest something, you were really trying to manifest it, and then it seemed like you couldn't do it, but now you can manifest the same thing you were trying to manifest before, like so easily. So there's 2 reasons for that. So first reason is that obviously there was an ego block against that, again, third dimensional construct, right? And another reason why things weren't moving that fast, okay, is because let's say you do want to live your wildest dreams, right? You want everything to be more magical and fucking amazing and marvelous as time progresses, right? Your physical vessel at that ego level is not going to be able to handle the energy. Do you see what I'm saying? Because your physical vessel, it's kind of like, I don't know, like upgrading the software, right, on the fucking computer or something, right? It's like as your soul's becoming more advanced, the physical vessel, which is really, it's like a container of the soul partially, it has to evolve too. Do you see what I'm saying? Because that's why sometimes individuals on the spiritual path, this just came in right now, okay? I cannot speak for anyone else, but a near-death experience, that is someone who wants the spiritual path and they got it, but it was in a way where it was a near-death experience, right? You see what I'm saying? Because their ego was going to be cracked via that way, and it can be, you know, it's like it can kickstart a motherfucking spiritual journey, but it was why that happened, the near-death experience, that, and he's saying right now, he's saying if that happens with someone, that is their physical vessel, just super upgrading, because you know, you get in that rush of DMT and shit like that, right? So when someone has that experience, it's like their physical vessel just got a supreme upgrade, like boom, and that's why that happens, right? Whereas someone who is just, you know, along in their journey and they're progressing, how typically it happens is someone, you know, they're on the path and like their physical vessel is evolving gradually. So that's like the kickstart, because the physical vessel has to match. That's why and again, I'm not saying for everyone, but spiritual individuals, they typically, sometimes, a few that I've heard have talked about near-death experience and that, and I don't know these people personally, obviously, but like I've heard that, and I just was conveyed the information now that a near-death experience happens when someone just has to have their physical vessel upgraded immediately. It's like you just unplug everything and then you plug it back in again, right? And then shit works, okay? And that is a path for some individuals who chose to have that path and to have that experience, right? But that essentially what it is just the physical vessel becoming upgraded to accommodate the quote-unquote light body that is the higher advancement of the soul, okay? But that is just what I was conveyed right now, that when the reason why things move really fast, when your manifestations happen really fast, to meander around again,
really get back to the point.
When someone is advancing, right, that's the thing. So to upgrade the physical vessel, it's going to have to happen because the physical vessel is being powered by the soul, right? So if the soul just has like a highly charged energy where they're literally like performing magic tricks in front of motherfuckers and shit like that. And I'm not talking about a parlor trick. I'm talking about genuine like magical alchemy. When they're saying like someone move, and then that motherfucker does it. Aleister Crowley, I read this somewhere a long time ago. Aleister Crowley was some big city. It might have been New York, I'm not sure, but he was somewhere and he was with a dude, and there was like a random guy walking in front of Aleister Crowley, you know, a few paces ahead that Aleister Crowley,
Daddy,
they were walking, and then so the dude was like, show me a magic trick. I don't know what was said, but basically there was a guy that they didn't know walking a few paces ahead on the sidewalk, and they didn't know him, he wasn't with them. And then so the guy said to Aleister, like, show me your magic or whatever the fuck. So Aleister Crowley, he did, and this, I don't know where I read it. I really wish but I know for a fact that I read it because I was like, that is the pimpest, dopest motherfucking shit I've ever fucking read. Whew, that's some good shit. That Aleister Crowley was like, okay, watch, like that guy right there, I'm gonna make him like trip or some shit, right? And then he like kind of knelt on the ground, he moved his hand, he did something, and the guy tripped. Like, not like, you know, fell and was brutally injured, no, but I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was just something like that, or he made the guy trip, or he made something to that effect, right? It wasn't like a malicious stunt, it was just like a little, you know, like he bumped a little in the sidewalk and then kept it moving. I don't know, it's something to that effect, okay? But when someone is doing that, when they're literally moving things, the physical vessel, in order to conduct, you know, alchemy like that, in order to puppeteer the 3D, like right like that in real time, the physical vessel has to get upgraded. You're not just going to be walking around with iPhone 1 and now we have iPhone like 72 and they all all look the fucking same, except now they're in different colors, right? So
I'm not hating on Apple. I have a lot of Apple products.
I'm just saying, I mean, iPhone, Apple, whoever, I don't even know who the fuck is running that now, but you need to get up on a new design, because I don't know what the fuck. Either way, that's just a suggestion. Maybe that was unsolicited advice, but whatever. It's not directed at an individual, it's directed at a corporation, because I sense in the moment that it might benefit them. And watch, you're probably gonna see that shit too, because I'm a fucking magician. Anyway, okay, so when you're performing real-time alchemy like that, when you're like making someone puppet around, your physical vessel has to be upgraded. So for some, they choose the route of the NDE. Rest assured that the physical vessel must be upgraded too. When you have that upgrade, now your soul and your vessel are so much more aligned. So if your physical vessel says, boom, I want this, then you give your physical vessel that. Your physical vessel might say, I want to run for 3 hours today around the fucking park in circles. Okay, you do that, right? But you know it because the vessel is telling you what it wants. If your physical vessel says, I want me some fucking sushi,
Right the fuck now.
then you get your physical vessel some motherfucking sushi. You know what I'm saying? Because your physical vessel will always tell you what it wants, and it will let you know what it doesn't want to. Okay? Yeah, that I don't even know how the fuck I got there, but because I was explaining. Ooh, okay. Whew. I just want to say, not everyone that has an NDE becomes super spiritual, but just from the information I was conveyed literally just now, that is what is resonating with me. So if you've ever had an NDE, it might have been just so that your physical vessel gets that upgrade so that it can house the soul facets. Okay, that's just, I feel like it might resonate with some of you. And we're always upgrading. Typically, someone might have one major jump in consciousness. The more that you carry yourself from a place of neutrality and then acknowledging that there are negative and positive, they're the same thing, different degree, and the one thing that you sacrifice is the ego construct, right? You were like the chicken that hatched out of the egg, right? You can acknowledge that there are still little bits of eggshell around the fucking farm,
I don't know.
but you're not picking them up and trying to glue them back together. You're like, okay, I see that mess over there. Okay, you're not disacknowledging it, therefore there's no void. You're just true neutral. You're medios. Lucifer, he wanted to say that if you have any type of mantras or something that you do to get you to the state of true neutral, like let's say the ego tries to arise out of nowhere to bring you back into the fear, because remember we said the 4D is the bridge, so the 3D is going to be present, you know, like you know what I mean? You're not bypassing any of them. Ideally, you're acknowledging all of them together, because you're a whole, you're holy, you are the all observing itself.
Okay, cool.
So he's just saying, if you have like some of you might resonate with like a mantra or an affirmation just to get you to true neutral, that is the best place that you could possibly be if you're still a little bit uncertain of the fear. Because what worked for me, if like a fear thing tried to infiltrate my psyche, if it tried to creep on in, I'd be like, okay, just gonna balance the pole. You know, this is a very good exercise too. You can just concentrate on the complete opposite, or if it feels too alien, to concentrate on the complete opposite, because maybe you've been living in that mode of fear in that particular sector of your earthly psyche experience. Maybe because there's a paradigm associated with that, you just want to bring it a little bit out. You want to take it a step up. What you want to go gradual, right? Because to remove a program, like sometimes it can be instantaneous removal, and it just happens. It's not really something that is explainable, but you just kind of, you're like, you let it go, and you'll always sense and know when it's time to let an old program go, because you're just gonna look at it and you're like, I was shook at this, and it's like a mind program, right? So you're not really shook of anything in the material realm. You're just shook of like a potentiality that might occur in the material realm, but there's potentiality that the exact opposite might occur too, and then you bounce the poles, and then you're just like,
Motherfucker.
home skillet. You don't phase my motherfucking ass, and then you just go about your day. However it works for you, but he's saying, you know, affirmations or like a mantra, or just trying to like flip the, you know, they say this a lot in law of attraction community, like you try to flip you flip the script to the exact opposite. But if that feels like it's too alien, it's not gonna take hold in your subconscious mind, then you can just start with baby steps. And I believe I do a few other videos on that too. Yeah, let me just check my notes one more time, because I've been
talks a lot.
As long as you are one in unification with the poles, remember you're with the poles because you are the middle of the cross. You're a 4D state of mind. 3D is one pole, 5D is the other pole. If you want to picture it like that, this encompasses everything that I'm talking about here. It sounds like it encapsulates this message very well. So that is what I have for you. When you are one in unification, you're not taking away anything, you're not sacrificing anything. You are looking at, yes, I want want to travel here, I want to travel there. I can do both of those, and I will do both of those. I'm doing both of those because it feels good to me. And however it's going to happen, it's going to happen. It's going to happen more magically than I expect. That's another, if you want to say things always work out better than I expected, blah, 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 stuff like that. A little affirmation goes a long way. So that's what I have for you today. Thank you for joining us on this wonderful stroll. Thank you, Alistair Crowley.
My daddy in the fourth dimension.
And Lucifer, my love, thank you for joining us. And if you are still here, you got like 85 MVP awards right now because you're the real MVP. So thank you for joining us. I am Oculus, the alien next door, purveyor of esoteric lore. We will chit chat again soon.